Active noise cancelling, or ANC, is perhaps the key trend in nowadays headphone market. Every big company that respects its bank account has at least one headset with this feature. The first big launch was made by Sony and quite long ago, while other companies are just starting catching up, especially in terms of quality. Today we'll speak about Sony's top solution of making the sound clear from this surrounding garbage. My name is Bogdan, this is Sony WH-1000XM3, and let's get loud. The model itself looks simple but with a good taste. The headphones are completely made of plastic, so in search for metal, please check other Sony products. Due to this lack of not so needed premium materials as well as very soft ear cushions, it takes eternity of non-stop pleasure wearing this headset with no burden feelings. So the marketing promises in this regard are really close to reality. I still remember MDR ZX750BN that had so badly dangle as nobody's business. Thanks God, with hero of our review there's no such problem, you won't see unnecessary gaps and won't hear some strange noises. There are no playback control buttons on the cups, everything is about swipes and taps. At first glance they are simple and clear, but in practice that process could be challenging, especially doing so for the first time. Only on the third day I could say that I've mastered all gestures when initially, instead of changing the volume, was switching tracks. But do not worry, as Tim Cook would say, you just don't know how to use headphones, that's all. From what I found really cool is that by closing the right cup you can turn on the quick attention mode, so you will hear the words around you without removing the headset. Pause gesture, by the way, is not an alternative, as it doesn't turn off ANC and doesn't make the surrounding louder to cut the passive noise insulation out. The headphones are powered by a battery of unknown capacity that charges fully in 3 hours and acts almost like unlimited power source. The manufacturer promised about 30 hours of work from a full charge. In order to get 5 hours of non-stop music, you need to feed the set for 10 minutes from an adapter with a power higher than 10 watts. In fact, the full battery lasts for 25 hours, at least not 4, which has become common for the various Bluetooth earbuds. Fresh Sony 1000X will need to charge by average user 2, maximum 3 times a month. Headphones are over the ear, they have a semi-closed acoustic design, uses 40mm driver with diaphragm from LCP. The resistance when connected via cable is 47 ohm. The sensitivity is 104.5 decibels per milliwatt. If connected via Bluetooth, the headset can work accordingly to one of the codecs, the list of which I'm too lazy to read, and process the signal using DSEE-HX technology. On websites, our guy can be found filtering by hi-fi or high-res, but do not let these loud words mess with your head. The model plays rather skin deep, as the golden eared like to say, at the macro level. In clear words, the headset will easily bring the main melody with its details, but it cannot transfer all the wealth of the sound. The latter one is not really different comparing wire connection and over the air. Therefore, we can safely say that Bluetooth is not the case here, as this thing was originally created as pleasant, soft and musical headphones for a general music lover. They cannot be called very punchy, although the attack here is enough for the sound not to go into mumbling. In some parts of my favorite tracks I haven't got so wanted vigorous bass shocks and weeps, which is a bit frustrating. The treble is reduced, which cuts off at least the sibilance and other unpleasant stuff, but in fact the details are suffering and many subtle parts are simply not audible due to such tuning. The middle level, in contrast to the treble, is somewhere nearby a puffy bass. To be true, simple voice sounds good and very emotional, but with something complex you will clearly hear that XM3 doesn't pull that hard. I would give my thumbs up here for the 3D in audio. The headset copes with this task perfectly, in some places even better than wired examples of similar compact format. On Sony's website you can see that speakers are capable to deliver from 4 Hz to 40 kHz. In fact, as well as signal compression codecs and sound recovery methods, such wide frequency range doesn't bring much more sense either. The smooth and soft sound at the output of the built-in hardware easily hides the flaws of the record and even losses during its transmission. What's the deal with hardware? Without it, listening to headphones is just unreal. You can use them as wired one without powering on, but in that case they sound like a metal can flying from stairs. In short, it's exactly the opposite to the manner described earlier. Dry, ugly, harsh, too sonorous, distorted. It feels that the acoustic scheme is not very suitable for the speakers, and in order not to mess around with its tuning, the problem was solved at the code of the brain box. Speaking of brains, Japanese must be granted by monuments for such developments, as long as other manufacturers of ANC called stuff have nothing more than loud words to attract additional customers. Sony brings us real working technology. Upon my first experience with noise cancelling, I've just lost my breath. At that moment I was inside the bus, which roaring broke my phone conversation, and suddenly it just shut up. However, we didn't stop picking up the speed. Some abrupt sounds like Uber driver hitting the brakes or caughing at the plane our guy cannot completely erase out of your life. However, he tries. But the usual, mostly low-frequency hum typical for big cities and transport is a piece of cake, even if the same bus roaring seems to be incredibly loud. The quick start guide has a warning that ANC in a quiet room can create some noises, but in practice it happens only in ambient sound mode. In general, QN1 chip was built in for a good reason. In my life I haven't seen anything like the noise cancelling in XM3, or rather haven't heard. The funny thing is that ANC works even when the music is not playing, and almost dead silence begins to reign around. It's hard to stay long like that, as it creates the feeling of some kind of pressure in your head. In that case, quickly turn on some cheerful sound to save your brains. The model has 3 modes: complete inaction of intelligence unit, full noise reduction, and amplifying of surrounding, which calls ambient sound. Like many other headphone settings, the latter one can be configured through the app. Many will find smart listening useful. For example, when you sit, the noise can be fully reduced, while walking, on the other hand, ANC is minimal for you to be the part of surrounding and to prevent being hit by the car or some gaping biker. I bet you won't be against such a useful thing. So what are the final chords? These headphones cannot outplay some hi-fi ones, but for the original music lovers, even such quality will be just damn awesome. There's no need to search faults in the assembly. In terms of ergonomics, they are close to a masterpiece, and the work of noise reduction makes me say that XM3 are the only full-sized headphones that I can recommend for outdoor wearing. Yes, the price is not low, about $350, but if you're ready to give all the money in the world for the sake of hearing your favorite music instead of a traffic jam, the headset of your dreams is in front of you. And where to get all this? Well then, you're grown enough to figure it out by yourself. Personally, for me, these headphones are the real discovery, and facing the truth, I enjoyed using them because I like that pretty much simplistic sound, not flooded with noise. Well done, Sony, so far no one can outmatch you in this regard. I definitely recommend for buying, and the links as always will be in the description box below. If you like this video, hit the like button and also subscribe and ring the bell to stay tuned for more cool content. My thanks for watching, and cheers!